We're glad you're joining us here on WFAA. Plus, we're talking about the Cowboys hiring of Brian Schottenheimer, the 10th head coach in Cowboys history. We
Wait, not
appreciate
Dion?
you joining us here on WFAA. Plus, what was that, Mike?
Not Dion?
It is not Deion Sanders. No, it's not Pete Carroll.
Darn.
It is Brian Schottenheimer, son of Marty. If we had a Marty Ball revival, I wouldn't hate it. It wouldn't be the worst thing. Great defense, great run game, and have Dak make some clutch plays because he could. I wouldn't mind it at all. Before we let you go, we do want to give our final thoughts about what this day means, what this hiring means for the Cowboys, and how we look forward. So, Mike, I'll let you lead us off, just trying to encapsulate your thoughts on this. Listen, it's a history-making night, not exactly the history we thought it would be or when we thought it would be, but it's a history-making night for the Dallas Cowboys.
It is. It is. Hansen was just texting me a couple minutes ago. He said, this is what I expected a month ago, a half-assed coach that nobody else around the league wants. It's unfortunately true. It is.
Right.
It's
right.
That is the world that the Cowboys are living in now. And it brings us back to something we discussed earlier. It's because they don't want to pay anybody. They don't want to pay top dollar for coaches, even though they print money at the Dallas Cowboys. They are the most valuable franchise in all of sports. Jerry Jones won't let you forget about it. And yet they don't want to use some of that money to make their franchise better, to make their team better. There's a lot of things that the Dallas Cowboys do. There's a lot of great things the Dallas Cowboys do. Off the field stuff I'm talking about, just things that they do in the community. There's a lot of great things that this franchise does. But the front porch of the Dallas Cowboys is the football team. And for some reason, they don't invest in the football team. They don't invest in the football team on the field with the players. You look at the actual cash spend for this franchise, it's near the bottom of the league. Despite all the big money contracts for Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and on and on and on, you look at the actual money spent by this franchise on their roster, they are routinely, over the last several years, near or at the bottom of the league. They don't spend money on their players. They don't spend money on their coaches. Why? And until they answer that question, until they change that philosophy, they're going to continue to have the results that they have had. This is an area where they could spend a ton of money and nobody could cap it. Nobody could say boo. Jerry could throw $30 million a year at whatever coach he wants. Why not? Doesn't have to be 30. Make it reasonable. Make it competitive. Make it the top of the market, but by $15, whatever. But be the top of the market. You have all the money in the world. You are the guy in the NFL that has all the money. Go spend some of it on your head coach. Go spend some of it on your coordinators. Why on earth not? You keep saying that there's no check you won't write, Jerry. That's a check you can write that nobody can bound. Write one. Maybe in 4 years he will.
Michelle?
Don't be crazy. I remember audibly gasping when I saw the first tweet that said basically he's, a front runner, or like it's almost a done deal, or whatever the exact language was. I remember audibly like taking a step back and gasping for air. And I think the reason being is because, when Mike McCarthy left, there were so many names that were thrown out there and that were thrown around. And of course, a lot of those names were also names being considered for other head coaching vacancies. But even at the beginning, like Brian Schottenheimer was never really mentioned, just as Mike Zimmer was never really mentioned. And I think that was kind of understandably so, because of the product that we had just seen them put on the field in the last 17 weeks. So when I first saw that he was being considered, and we know from the time it was being reported that he was really like interviewing to the time that it was like, oh, he's basically got this deal in hand, that was a very short time frame, relatively speaking. And so I just remember thinking, wow, this is, and I said this earlier, but this is really what it's come to. You go from, and I know Jerry didn't hire Tom Landry, but like you go from that to this is where we're at now. And I just feel like you can't really claim all the things that you want to claim and then back it up with the actions that you've been backing it up with for so long now. And I felt like this was a time where, there wasn't really like a leading candidate that would have been a home run in this coaching cycle. Like the guys that you said earlier, Joe, the guys that were the big names, the coordinators that were cool and hot. They don't have any proven head coaching success. It's not like Andy Reid was, available to bring in to Dallas. And not that he would, but you know what I mean? There was no real home run hire available in this coaching cycle. But
You're right. You're right.
even with that in mind, to choose the guy you did, it just sends such a statement. And no matter what, lip service he does from really here on out, or specifically on Monday when they explain this hire, I think the action here sends a stronger message than whatever statement he gives. And I just guess I, at some point, wonder if the brand that he has done such an incredible job building. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys are who they are because of what Jerry's done and because of the players that he had early on and because of all of the winning that they did, especially in the time frame they did it, right? Like Dallas was kind of the epicenter of all that was cool and happening. And the Cowboys were a big part of that. So we can't discredit that piece, but I feel like what we've seen in the more recent years, and specifically at a time like this where you can make a statement, the statement he chose to make was an interesting one that I would say was shocking, but is it really shocking? No. At the end of the day, no. It fits.
Unfortunately, it's not shocking at all. Um,
Right.
I think the statement it sends to me, you guys, is we're fine with status quo. That's what they went with. And unfortunately for Cowboys fans, you know what status quo is. It's dysfunction, it's disappointment, it's hopes that will be raised and dashed. That's what we've seen for 30 years. And when I try and think about the systemic deficiencies that could cause something like this, I have to go back to the past. Jerry Jones bought this franchise for $140 million. It's now worth more than $10 billion. He took a risk, and the risk has paid off. I think about back then some of the free agent moves that he made that paved the way for Super Bowls. When he would sign a guy like Deion Sanders, when he would sign a guy like Charles Haley. I mean, risky moves, big money moves. When they signed Deion Sanders, Jerry and Steven got into it physically. Jerry jokes about being up against the wall because Steven was trying to figure out, all right, how do we make this work? Because he was the capologist at the time, right? These were risky, bold, dynamic moves that brought back championship results. And what we've seen over the last several years, you guys, especially the 20 years I've been here, is a franchise that continually gets more and more conservative with the moves they make. I think about free agency. It always feels like they're always shopping at Kohl's and Marshall's when they're the most valuable franchise in the world, and they should be shopping at Neiman Marcus. And they just don't, right? And Mike, I think you eloquently talked about the coaches. That's the biggest issue I have. There is no salary cap with coaches, right? That's one place where you could take all that local revenue that your adoring fans give you and put it back into the product. Because I do think that would serve the brand well. But for whatever reason, they don't want to do it. They don't. And this is what we're left with. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think this will work, but I certainly hope I'm wrong. And I hope Jonah thinks that I am wrong as well. No. Can Jonah hear us, or do you still have the earpiece in?
I've got the earpiece out. You guys look great. Mike, less so. You look like Rudolph, my boy. Sorry. We've got to get Mike a new place.
It's cold out here, buddy.
No, you look so cold. My final thoughts. It's probably in line with what a lot of Cowboys Nation is feeling like. You got to be kidding me. This is the same kind of hire that we've had over the last, 20 years. I'm trying to think positively here and hope like Joe mentioned, that we're all wrong. There are a lot of coaches getting hired in the NFL right now to be head coaches that are coming in with incredible expectation. Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen.
Think about Liam Cohen.
Yeah, all these guys who
Liam
are
Cohen okey doke the league this week.
presumably supposed to be these offensive geniuses that are going to, lead teams to Super Bowls. They're coming in with a lot of hype. Schottenheimer might be the least hyped coach hire in this entire cycle. So he's got
ever
going for him. So that's great.
It was Chan Gailey.
The only problem is he's got the pressure of the last 29 years weighing on him now. And that's hard for any head coach. And it's hard, especially when you have a front office that, continues to undermine those coaches at every turn. So let's see what this offseason does in terms of free agency and drafting. And that will probably give us a better idea.
Good stuff.
Strong final thoughts from one Jonah Javad.
I am hyped. And I didn't even have my 7th coffee of the day.
Yeah, you look hyped. You look like you're ready to go.
This is the face of somebody who really didn't want to have to spend all weekend checking his phone to see if this was gonna.
Nice. Yeah. Good point. It's a very good point made by you. I like it. Listen, you guys.
Yeah, Leslie, very nice.
What's that?
The paternity leave beer. That's or soon to be.
I haven't. This beard is as old as the Cowboys coaching search. I have not shaved since the day Mike McCarthy was let go.
I'm just glad
that was my second to last day of work.
Hair is possible for you. This is great news. Anyway,
yes,
seeing you all.
All right, thanks so much, Jonah, and thanks you guys, Michelle, Mike, thanks for hanging out in the cold. Appreciate that.
I'll survive it.
The final thing I'll say about this whole thing is I don't think it's going to change. I think it might get worse. We know that part of the other big issue with the Dallas Cowboys is the perception that Jerry, by his mere presence and the way he treats his organization, undermines his head coaches. Unfortunately, I think that will only continue with this kind of hire. I hope it changes. I hope I'm wrong. But listen, that's just the way I see it.